welcome to another episode of Mine Planning Matters, a podcast where we talk about where the industry gets it both right and wrong when it comes to mine planning and mining engineering. This podcast is not just for mine planners, it's for everyone who has anything to do with mine plans, from those who create them, to those who execute them, and all the way up to those who endorse or sign off on them. My name is Mark Bowater, Director and Founder of Australian Mining Consultancy Insignia Mining, and I speak from experience, having been involved in mine planning for over 30 years. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mine Planning Matters. And in this episode, I want to start a series of episodes on what I consider to be the greatest of the crimes that I talk about in crimes against mine planning, and that is optimistic mine plans. And I really consider that to be the greatest crime because it is getting worse over my time in the industry, where I'm seeing now more stretch in mine plans, more optimism than when I first started in the industry. And I also think it's the greatest crime because most of the time it's actually a choice that we as the industry are making. We are choosing to create optimistic mine plans, and we don't need to make that choice. But one of the things that has dawned on me since I wrote the book and spoke about optimistic mine plans in there is that in actual fact there are two different types of optimism, and I would categorize them into accidental optimism that we add into mine plans, and then optimism that we add that's a conscious choice where we choose to introduce stretch. And in this episode, I want to talk about the first one, which is accidental optimism. And that stems from the fact that as mine planners, we are very good at what I would call bottom-up mine planning, where we start at the lowest level and we analyse historical production rates and availability and utilisation, and we break the mining operation down into all of the tasks that have to happen. And so we schedule those in sequence and we apply rates to them. And that gives us a mine schedule sort of at the lowest level. What we are not so good at, I think, necessarily, is then assessing that from a top-down perspective instead. And so when you combine all of those activities together into a group of activities that has to happen for the mine to proceed, how does that compare against our historical performance? And so here I want to refer to some great work done by some other people. There's a gentleman called Julian Poniewoski, who is a colleague of mine from Brisbane. And he has written some great articles on LinkedIn about open pit mine sink rates. And I'm going to spell his surname for you because I would recommend that you read these. So it's Poniewerski. He's written 3 great articles on the maximum sink rate that you can achieve in open pit mines under various scenarios or various alternatives. And that really is a great top-down sanity check. And that's the way I think of it, as a sanity check on, that's fine. At a bottom-up basis, I should be able to achieve this. But when I look at historically, what have I done in the past, then can I actually achieve that? When I do that sanity check at a top level, how do I actually go? And I think that is a process that can be used in any type of mine, open pit or underground, where you can take a particular area of the mine and look at it at a big picture level and say, well, what do we do in the past? If it's a strip mine, each strip, let's look at the last 2 or 3 strips. How long did it take us to dig that particular area? And really there's another great paper by a guy called Bent Flyvberg. And I'm definitely going to spell that surname Flyvbjerg. And the paper's called Curbing Optimism Bias and Strategic Misrepresentation in Planning. Reference class forecasting and practice. And so reference class forecasting is the same logic where you look at historically at a high level, how long did it take or how much did it cost to do these things in the past, and build a reference class that you can then just refer back to again when you're looking at that high level. And so what I would implore people to do is fine, let's continue with our low-level, bottom-up builds of our schedules. But when we've got the schedule built, let's do those sanity checks. Let's go and get that reference class of historical performance that we've done at our mine site. And then let's check our sync rates or our drive rates for underground or whatever it is. Let's check them against what we've done historically in the past. And then let's maybe, change them if we need to, because the fact is we haven't achieved potentially the high rate that we just scheduled for. Thanks for listening to Mine Planning Matters and my thoughts on mine planning. This podcast is for the benefit of the mining industry, and that's you. So I'd love to hear from you through the comments section, and please feel free to let me know any topics you'd like discussed in future episodes. You'll find much more content at our Insignia Mining website, and if you find any of our content valuable, please let your mining colleagues know so they can benefit as well.